On again with another bit of BAM. Now there's a lot of things need to be clear up in the air right now with your so-called 5G. And I told you, one fool make many. A lot of people seeking for truth gonna just jump on it because they don't get it. You understand? Flooding my Instagram with all these so-called 5G people doing video talking about the 5G is a virus. It's nothing but a hoax, people. 100% distraction from the new world order. You're not gonna get it. What you think? You think the 5G is virus? You think a radio signal, a radio wave signal can carry a virus? You're dumb as a box of rocks. I already told you, stop following those dummies on YouTube giving you these videos. And I told you, they would never mention it on TV if it's for real. That's what you need to know. All they need to do is mention it, so we're feeding onto the conspiracy that it's really the 5G is a virus. There ain't no fucking virus. Bam on.
In the modern era, radio waves control everything. From the tunes in your car driving down the road to the police radio in the car that's pulling you over for not signaling you.
Exactly. And a lot of people get distracted by so-called satellites. They never understand is those poles right here on Earth that give you signal. There ain't no damn satellites.
Turn. These waves are undetectable and invisible to human senses, but they make up the foundation of modern connected technology.
Exactly.
While the root of modern connected technologies may be radio waves, the underlying tech that makes radio waves possible is a rather simple concept to understand. Any person can make...
Exactly. That's how I feel. You don't get it, people. Why you think I never buy into this so-called 5G bringing the so-called virus? Why? Because I know exactly what radio waves is. You're not getting it, people. I know exactly what it is, and it can't carry no virus. If you're just smart and use your damn brain, you know what the hell it is. It's one of the oldest technology in the fucking world.
A simple radio in their home for a few bucks, which is part of the reason this foundational communication tech dates back to 1895. As a demonstrable
introduction. You don't understand, people. Even longer than that. That's what you need to know. The first so-called technology, and what you have to understand is just a resource that they stole. That's what you need to get. The government is using it and you can't. That's what you need to know. They're selling it to you. But it's a damn earth resource.
To understanding
there you go, people. These are your so-called cell towers all over the world. This is what bring you this signal. It can't carry no fucking virus. What's wrong with the people? Dumb on.
Radio will engage in a simple explanation of how you might make one. All you need is a battery, a coin, and an AM radio. Tune the radio to a static channel and start tapping that coin on the two terminals of the battery. You'll start hearing that tap.
Yes, and just in case you're dumb, from way, way back in the days, this is how they send signal from one spot to another, even from one country to another. That's all they do. All you need to know is what the signal gonna look like when it show up. You understand what the wave gonna look like, and they actually can read it. Just wake your ass up. Old school way of sending messages
through the AM radio. By doing this, you'll have made a crude radio transmitter capable of communicating in Morse code or random taps over just a few inches, though. What you're doing in this process is exciting electrons on the transmitter side, the battery and the coin, which then is received as a signal on the receiving side, the AM radio.
Exactly. So what you trying to tell me, people, that this technology that they got forever just started bringing in virus because they call it 5G. You better wake your ass up. America don't have no damn 5G. And why they got the most fucking cases of that coronavirus? Just wake your ass up. It's garbage.
Turned back into an audio output. What you're doing is completing a circuit between the battery terminals, which creates an electromagnetic force, which can be detected by the receiver in the AM radio. In order to understand radios in more detail than what we've just discussed, we need to take a little trip through history. Back in the early days of radio technology, in the whereabouts of the early 1900s, radio transmitters were referred to as spark coils.
You see that right there, people? I already told you, this is how they used to send signal from back in the days. Just a piece of copper and a little battery. And there you go, they can send signal all over the world. Just wake your ass up without wires. As you can see right here, the tapping, tap, tap, tap. And somebody can read it at the next end. You don't get it, people.
This was due to the fact that they create large high-voltage sparks, upwards of 20 kilovolts, to send out a signal. The issue was, the message was sent out on all frequencies in the radio spectrum, meaning that there was essentially only one localized channel. This was fine and dandy back in the days where no one was really using
They're flashing the damn signs on the
radio,
masses.
but nowadays,
Nothing but a
do something
buffalo.
like this and you'll get fined or sent to prison.
You hear
These
that, people? I already told you about this back in the days in a video. I already told you in a live. Yes, I got a family member that actually put up a radio station. Yes, and he was locked up by the FBI. Just remember that shit, people. It belongs to them. I already told you what it is. It's resource that they stole. And now they sell it to the masses. They own it. That's what you need to know.
early spark coils were essentially doing the same thing as the coin and battery experiment,
Exactly.
except at a much larger scale, meaning that they had a lot higher range. Riding the magic school bus back to the modern era, and today's radios use sine waves to transmit all sorts of information, from
They go
audio
the
to
way.
video to raw data.
Exactly. That's all it can bring, people. And what you have to understand, if your cell phone don't have that technology to encrypt anything that it sends, it won't be nothing. You understand me? If you can't encrypt the music, the video, whatever you send to it, there's no way it's gonna come to. So the cell phone itself, it got an encryptor. You understand? Basically, it gonna decode all of these right here. They come in code, and it basically gonna decode it for you. That's all it is, people. All in this wave. You can't carry no fucking virus.
By utilizing sine waves for transmission, radios and devices can distinguish different channels based on frequency, or the number of cycles in the sine wave per second. This allows tens to hundreds to thousands of channels on modern radios, all in the same space without too much interference. Every single radio has two parts, a transmitter and a receiver.
You
The
see what I mean? It's the same thing with the cell phone. You got the transmitter and it got the receiver. It can send out message and it can receive it. Same thing it can do with videos and music. You got it, people. The same radio wave. All they got to do is make the waves more closer. Yes, they got to put up way more towers to make that so-called 5G. And I already told you, it's not in America yet. They're just fooling the masses. They're charging you for it because you got a little bit of faster internet, just barely faster. That's not now 5G. It's just fooling the people and charging you for something that you don't get.
transmitter is responsible for taking a string of data and encoding it to a sine wave.
There you
After
go.
that encoding happens, it can also be amplified and sent out across the air. The receiver, rather expectedly, receives the radio waves and decodes the message
You hear
encoded
what he
into
say? He said decode it. Yes, exactly what I said. It decode it. It get the message. If it don't have a receiver, it can't receive the message and decode it. You understand? So that's how the cell phone work. Simple as that in a nutshell. You understand? The signal is what they call their G's. You understand? Just wake your ass up. They're trying harder. And don't worry about it. They actually have the technology already. They're just playing with the masses. Spoon feeding that shit. Every 10 years they so-called go up another G.
sine wave. Each side of the system uses antennas to radiate and or receive the signal. Relating radios back to your life a little bit, chances are you're watching this video as a result of a transmission of radio waves.
Exactly.
Cell phones use
Transmission.
radios in their most basic form. They contain both transmitters and receivers and can
There
run
you go, people. And I told you, I don't know how I know this from I was a kid. I know this from I was a baby. No lie. The first thing I ever know about technology is this radio wave right here. That's what I learned, what technology is. That's how I learned. This radio waves, if you have any brain, it can't carry no virus. It can't do shit to you. It can't do shit to no air molecules. It's bullshit for
both at the same
people.
time. In general, phones use frequency modulation, or FM, in a frequency range of 800 megahertz in any one of 1,600 individual frequencies. All of those numbers and data probably is meaningless to you right now, but hang on as we dive deeper. Back to our simple battery demonstration. we can recall that an electromagnetic force was created when the battery circuit was completed. Modern radios build off of this idea by creating rapidly changing electric currents on the transmitter side. One of the best way of doing this is by utilizing sine waves, as we discussed. To create a sine wave, radios use capacitors and inductors to vary the current and voltage in a controlled means. Transistors are used to amplify the signal so that it has a further...
And every one of those technology that they give you, any one of those device got one of that in there, a transmitter. You could see it in a radio back in the days. All they do is just make them more smaller so they can hold in smaller devices. That's it.
The problem, though, as you might have picked up, is that sine waves don't natively carry any information. They provide a foundation for transmitting information. Like the Oreo cookie is the transmitter for that delicious filling. Or like crackers are the foundations to that dry-aged Gouda. You get the point. In order to get sine waves to actually carry information, you need to modulate it. You can do this in 3 ways: pulse modulation, amplitude modulation, and frequency modulation. Pulse modulation means that you turn the sine wave on and off, just like the IT guy suggested. Doing this allows you to easily send Morse code, but that's just about it. Pulse modulation is rarely used except to control clocks across the US. The simplicity of pulse modulation also allows one pulse modulator to cover massive areas, like the entire US. Amplitude modulation, on the other hand, is what is utilized by AM radio stations and TV signals to encode data. In this format, the amplitude, or peak-to-peak voltage of the wave, is changed. You can imagine this as the wave from a person's voice being combined with a sine wave to create a new, rather complex sine wave with the same frequency.
All sound waves, people. All sound waves, they're used to carry signals. That's it. It can't do shit to you. You understand? No doubt about it.
But with a lot more data inside. Finally, frequency modulation, otherwise known as FM, is used for FM radio and tons of other wireless tech. In this encoding technique, the sine wave frequency changes slightly based on the signal. This means that the distance between the peaks of the waves is varied based on the data that's trying to be transmitted. Bringing all of these different techniques back into the real world, we can begin to understand them a little further. If you sit in your car and tune your radio to AM 680, that means that the transmitting station was operating at 680,000 hertz, meaning that the sine wave repeats 680,000 times per second. The voice of the speaker or the music on the transmitting side...
Now you understand the speed, right? Now you understand the speed of the signal, how the signal travel by speed. Only thing they're gonna do is upgrade the speed of the signal. That's it.
Is modulated onto that wave through amplitude modulation. Then the signal is amplified up to 50,000 watts for larger AM radio stations and then sent into space utilizing the antenna. Your car's radio picks up that signal utilizing its own antenna. This can be as simple as a wire or a metal stick. In conjunction with the tuner on your radio tuning to the specific frequency, the tuner starts resonating at 680 kilohertz. Called resonance, this principle allows the radio to essentially ignore any other signals in the air. The signal then passes to the detector, or demodulator, that takes the voice or music from the wave.
So if you understand what's going on right here, people, just like you can talk in a microphone and it amplify the sound and send it all around, there you go right there. You got your antenna right there, which is the same thing they call a cell tower. That's a cell tower right there. There you go with the waves, show you from back in the days with the antenna that work your TV. You just put it up on the roof, it catches signal, and it put it in the wire, send it all the way to your TV. Ain't nothing new, people. That's what they're doing. Nothing else. No new technology, really. They're just so-called remixing it for the masses. Bam on.
Alright, so in this video, we're going to understand how information travels wirelessly. And what I mean by this is that we're going to understand how devices like Wi-Fi, wireless internet, work, how things like radios, say in cars, work, and how things like cell phones, which definitely use wireless communication.
Which is the same thing, people. They all use the same exact radio frequency. Just remember that.
How they work. And the reason that we can understand all these in one pretty short video is that they all use the same principle of communication. They all use communication via waves. So, waves are something that we're all intimately familiar with. We know, from childhood that if we have, say, a lake, and someone throws a rock into this lake, then the rock is going to cause ripples to form in a lake. And the key point about these ripples, what makes them called waves, is that they move, they propagate. And because they propagate, they can carry information out about the initial disturbance that created them. For example, the way that you're listening to my voice right now is that your speaker, this is a very poor drawing of a speaker, but your speaker is moving, and your speaker is creating sound waves. And what sound wave is just regions of high and low density in the air. These are supposed to be air molecules. And so these sound waves reach your ear, and your ear does some complicated process to transcribe that into sound. But
And
again,
that can't give you no coronavirus, you understand? Same damn radio waves right there in the speaker coming to your damn ears, you understand me? And a lot of people always been around those big sound system like me, standing right in front of it while it blasts. That's the same radio waves right there bringing the sound, dashing it straight to your ears. And you want to tell me it didn't give you no virus? You better wake your ass up. Same radio frequency they're using on the masses, nothing else.
these waves, this information transmission is possible because the waves propagate. Now, to understand how all of these devices work, we're going to have to talk about something called electromagnetic or EM waves. And the exact nature of these waves is too complicated to go into now, and it's not important for understanding this. But let me just give you some examples of waves that you already know about that are, in fact, EM waves. So light, for example, is an electromagnetic wave. Microwaves use electromagnetic waves to heat up food. X-rays, whenever you go to the doctor and you get an X-ray image taken, the waves that form that image are X-rays. And lastly, of course, radio waves are another special type of electromagnetic waves. So, how do we use waves to transmit information? That's what we're going to try to understand now. And before we do that, we need to understand two characteristics of waves, two ways that we can quantify what makes one wave different from another. So, if I consider this wave that I have here, there are two things that I can ask about it. One, I can ask, how large is this wave? And to answer such a question, what I might do is I might simply measure, the difference between the maximum value and the central value, or the equilibrium point. And that is something that we call the amplitude in wave terminology. So let's say that the amplitude is A. So this distance is A. And obviously this distance is A. And the difference between the peak and the trough, called the peak-to-peak distance, is equal to, obviously, 2 times the amplitude, or 2A. So amplitude is a very easy, very intuitive concept about how to characterize how big a wave is. So the other concept that's important is called frequency. And frequency is just the answer to the question, how fast do cycles of the wave go by? So by a cycle, I mean a region like this of a wave, the basic unit of the wave that repeats. Each one of these is a cycle, and basically frequency is equal to the number of cycles that occur in a unit time, let's say a second. So a wave that looks like this has a much higher frequency than a wave that looks like this, even though they have the same amplitude. So now that we understand what frequency and amplitude mean, we can use these concepts to transmit information. The first way that I'm going to tell you about how to do this is called amplitude modulation. And this is what the AM stands for in AM radio. So the basic idea is best seen by this example. So say I have some signal, maybe it's a sound signal or something else. Say I have some signal that I want to send you, and that signal looks like this. So how do I send you this signal? Well, just for convenience, you'll see why I do this in a second, but I want to draw the negative of the signal. So this is the signal that I want to send you, and I want to send it to you via an electromagnetic wave. So what I do is I send you a wave of a particular frequency, and I tell you to look for waves of that frequency. What I'm going to do is I'm going to send you this wave where I change the wave based on the signal that I want to send you. So wherever the signal is low, I make the amplitude of my wave low, and wherever the signal is high, I make the amplitude of my wave high. So here we have two distinct pieces. This is signal, and this wave that I'm sending you is called the carrier wave because it carries the signal. So to decode this, all you have to do is you have to look at how big the wave is at any given point, and then you can get the signal that I was trying to send you. So this scheme is called amplitude modulation, and it's the one that's used in radios most often, AM radio specifically, to get you the songs that you hear, say, in a car when you're driving and you're listening to the radio. Now, There's AM and there's also FM. And you've probably guessed by now that FM means frequency modulation. So frequency...
So you basically get it, right, people? You're paying attention? The radio waves is the same 5G they're talking about. America just not finished on it yet. They're not there yet. You have to see more towers put up. You have to see them everywhere. You understand? That's the only way they're going to get a so-called 5G. They have to have the strong signal. And in order for them to do that, they have to have more towers. You understand? The frequency that travel with the radio wave can't bring no virus. It's just a hoax for the dumb people. Don't buy into it, people. Wake your ass up.
Possible 5G cell phone technologies or cellular technologies. But first is first. Let's look at a brief history of cell phone in the past 50 years. The first
of all, you know this one thing, people. The 5G is not here yet. Watch this right here. This is 1G right here. Pay attention.
That's why its nickname was the brick. It was analog, just like a traditional home landline phone, and they were very expensive too. On March 13th, 1984 in USA, someone bought a Motorola cell phone for $3,995.
And that's the reason why they spoon feed your technology, so they could charge you a whole lot of money for it. Don't be thinking they didn't have the technology already when they give you this right here. They already got the damn iPhone technology. You believe me? That's how they do it. Or you think they get you to buy a new phone every year, another one come out, you think they didn't know it was going to come? You better wake your ass up, all by design, to rob the dumb people.
Had a talk time of just 35 minutes, but it took 10 hours to charge its battery. The 1990s saw 2G cell phones. You can make a call, you can send a text message, and you can even send a smiling face.
You get what the G's mean, people? Do you getting it? You get the 1G, you get the 2G. The 1G only can make phone calls. The other one can actually send texts. You understand? And smiley faces. Pay attention.
Was digital, a big step. In the 2000s, 3G cell phone came with the internet browser. The technologies behind 3G is HSPA or HSPA+. 3G used MIMO, multiple input, multiple output. A method for multiple...
If you notice, they give you every 10 years. Every 10 years, they give you another G. You understand what's going on right here, people? They spoon feed you the technology. It's the same damn shit.
Applying the capability of radio link. In data transmission, packet switching method is used for 3G. Besides, the generation terminology has become widely used since then. In the 2010s, 4G cell phone came to dominate the market. By the end of the year 2018, right now, pretty much everyone except grandma, grandpa is using 4G cell phones. Behind 4G are LTE, long-term evolution, or WiMAX. 4G uses IP and packet switching, just like computers.
Those are technology that they've been having, people. They just spoon feed you with. You can tell right here in this presentation.
Actually, 4G phone is new computer in your hand. At this point, you might see the pattern. Each cellular phone generation lasts for about 10 years. Now it's time to move
all
to
by
a
design.
new generation. The 2020s will be a 5G era. It is said that 5G will be 100 times faster than the current.
Don't worry about it. They say 1,000 times faster. That's what they said. And I already told you, when they tell you you have 5G, they're just lying to you. It's never faster. Why would you accept them that they got 5G? Now they're telling you it's what caused the coronavirus. No 5G in America yet. Just wake your ass
4G.
up.
And the downlink maximum throughput can offer over 10 to 20 gigabits per second, which means you can download 2 to 3 high-definition DVD movies just in 1 second.
You see
What
that?
makes 5G so exciting?
All of the people who claim they got 5G, can you do that? Can you download 2 HD movie, 2 high-quality movie in 2 seconds? I don't think so. Nobody have no damn 5G. It's mostly for your surveillance when they finish with it. You understand? It's not in America as yet. How would America got so many coronavirus cases? The most. It's
in
dumb
next
shit.
8 minutes, please let me talk about
And
6
they know 5G in Africa. Where is the 5G, people? There's only Chinese and some Asian country got that 5G. So how come the damn coronavirus is everywhere in the world? Huh? You tell me that Greenland, people from Greenland have it? They got Wi-Fi in Greenland? Dumb on.
technologies, among many others, possibly used for 5G cellular network. 1. 5G will use new radio called millimeter wave. As we know, radio frequency spectrum from 1 gigahertz to 6 gigahertz is very crowded. Many technologies use this range, such as GPS, WiMAX, Wi-Fi, 4G, 3G, L-band satellite, S-band, and C-band satellite, etc.
What? Satellite work off this right here? You better wake your ass up. There ain't no damn satellite. Dumb on.
The spectrum range from 30 gigahertz to 300 gigahertz, known as millimeter wave, is less utilized. It's a new territory. Thus, the range
You
from
think it's a new territory? It's been there forever. That's what you need to know. All they're doing is spoon feeding the masses technology. That's how they get you to charge. That's how they get to charge the masses all that money for the technology. Yes, next new one coming up. Yes, you put down the whole one and grab the new one. That's how they keep you in the satanic earth in bondage. Yes, keep have to come up with money that you slave for.
24 gigahertz to 100 gigahertz is proposed for 5G. The millimeter wave has at least 3 advantages. 1, it is a new and a less used band, as we mentioned before. 2, higher frequency wave carries much more data than lower frequency wave. And the third advantage is millimeter wave makes possible to have massive MIMO antenna, which is the second 5G technology. The relationship between the wave frequency and antenna size is inversely proportional, which means lower frequency signals need a bigger antenna to transmit and receive, while the higher frequency signals can work well with the smaller size antenna.
Like a phone.
The higher frequency wave we use, the smaller antenna we can get. Thus, millimeter wave makes it possible to have a lot of transmitters and receivers installed on a small size cell or panel. For example, for older technologies, one cell can have 10 antennas, but for 5G, the same cell may have, let's say,
if you notice, for the 5G, got the waves closer. You understand? In order to get the waves closer, you need more antennas. You understand me? That's the only difference, people. The waves just get closer and closer for the faster signal. You got me? You never understand, people. Sound frequency is the same radio frequency right there. Can't carry no virus. And like I say, one fool make many. You need to do your checking. Go back way, way back and look up the damn radio waves, people. Take a look at it and stop following these dummies on YouTube talking about 5G is the virus. There ain't no damn virus. The virus is a hoax, and anything to feed in it to make the masses believe that there's a virus out there that's killing the people. Yes, they will buy it. And of course, TV start promoting that 5G is the so-called killer. Yes, you believe that, people? They never mention truth when it comes to TV. That's called amplifying it. You understand? So what you think they're doing when they're mentioning that people saying the 5G is what carrying the virus? They amplify it. Yes, a lot of people that have doubts in the system, they're gonna jump on that right away, believing that the 5G is the fucking coronavirus. That's the dumbest shit in the world. Catch me on the run. I'm gone.